The Founding Fathers would be appalled at the presidency of Donald Trump. His behavior and actions are precisely what led to the drafting of the Declaration of Independence. The colonists decried refusal of the king to abide by the laws, obstructing immigration, obstructing the administration of justice, forcing the judiciary to comply with his will, erecting new offices to harass people, keeping standing armies within the U.S. without the consent of the legislatures, cutting off trade, imposing taxes, tariffs without the people's consent, and inciting insurrection against the people. Sound familiar? And now Trump has federalized the Washington, D.C. police force and called up the National Guard to combat, in his words, rampant crime in the city. The last time the National Guard was called to the city was during the riots following the Martin Luther King assassination, a real crisis. I grew up in the Washington, D.C. area. I was there for major events, civil rights marches, riots, Vietnam War protests, Watergate, the assassination attempt against President Reagan, and more. And while I worked there, I walked every day to Capitol Hill. I ministered in homeless missions and in open-air drug markets. I was never attacked. Amazingly, the D.C. police were ever present. In fact, they were the ones who rushed to and protected the Capitol during the January 6th Trump-incited insurrection against the 2020 election results. Unfortunately, crime is present in most large cities, although significantly down in D.C. despite Trump claims. I remember when I moved to Richmond, Virginia in 1990. By the early 90s, Richmond had become the murder capital of the U.S. I joined a group of pastors that prayed weekly for 3 years to combat crime. Guess what? Crime dramatically dropped. Most of the city council was convicted of criminal behavior. The city brought in a strong city manager, police commissioner, and later mayor, which transformed the city. Washington, D.C. doesn't need Trump to combat crime, but it could use prayer. How about Trump calling in D.C. pastors to join in an effort to combat crime? Instead of praying for him, they could pray for the city. I guarantee they know a lot more about crime in their city than he does. To learn more about politics and the gospel, consider my new book on Amazon, How Politics Has Distorted the Gospel.